What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aaron Nix. This is the Wrestle Plug YouTube channel. It's time for a rapid-fire Raw review. It's the season premiere, so let's do it to it. It's the 25th anniversary of D-Generation X. Don't really care for it that much because it's that old, but they do open with a very funny skit backstage talking about cock, swearing, all that good stuff, and Triple H being the good company boy he is with the headset on.
For the love of God, get out of the ring before they cancel the show.
The show then opens proper with the best thing going in wrestling today. At least in my opinion, that is, of course, the Bloodline. Sami Zayn is so over as the honorary host. The Bloodline comes out. Roman Reigns says, "Acknowledge me," as he normally does. They're in Brooklyn, New York. And then, of course, there's the problem with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn says, "Hey, it's my problem, don't worry about it." Then they're interrupted by Matt Riddle, who comes down and says, "Bro."
I mean, I went to high school and graduated, bro.
Despite the stipulation that Matt Riddle isn't allowed to challenge Roman Reigns for a WWE title shot, he still wants one. However, Sami Zayn says, "Don't disrespect things." Jey Uso stirs the pot, and of course we set up Sami Zayn versus Matt Riddle for later in the night. Johnny Gargano finally gets his hands on Austin Theory in a one-on-one match and beats him in about 5 minutes. The match itself was excellent, just didn't seem to go that long, or at least it felt about 5 minutes. Might have been longer, including commercial breaks. A little bit surprising Austin Theory has become quite the bitch in WWE and seems to be selling out a lot. But it's great to see Johnny Gargano back on our screens. It's great to see him wrestling at full strength on the main roster.
I am not here to be therapied on. You therapy on him.
Rey Mysterio has a low-key barn burner with Chad Gable. Of course, this brings out the Judgment Day. It's Rhea Ripley. It's Dominic. Rey Mysterio picks up the win, much to their chagrin. They then obviously try and goad him into a fight afterwards. He refuses to hit his son. Very similar to the Kane Undertaker thing when Kane made his debut back in 1997, at least in terms of storyline. Obviously, little less body mass going on here.
Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
Rey Mysterio gets assaulted and limps his sorry ass to the back, while Judgment Day cut a fantastic promo. Gotta say, really feeling Finn Balor right now. They're slowly starting to grow on me. The Rhea Ripley and the Dominic scenario, that's very cool as well. The fact that he said it, did it for him. Good stuff, if you know what I mean. Also loving Corey Graves on commentary. And also a shout out to the new Raw commentary team. Corey Graves and Keith Patrick absolutely killing it on commentary. It's time for the first mark-out moment of the night, and I've got to be honest, I did mark out hard. I'm sitting there watching it as AJ Styles comes down, he joins, and then he says, "Do you know what? I need family," and he gives Finn Balor the hug. However, his face changes, he grabs the mic and he says, "I didn't mean you." Now, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how sick would it be if he brought in old Bullet Club members? Turns out he did. Gallows and Anderson back in WWE after a little bit of a hiatus, a couple of years out, touring the world, going to Impact, going to New Japan, going to AEW as well. And now they're back on WWE Raw. I think this is the perfect fit. They're not the biggest stars in the world, but alongside AJ Styles, we now all of a sudden have the OC back. We now feel like we're going to get premium AJ Styles, and this means that he all of a sudden feels like he's an elevated talent, a main event level talent again.
I saw him last before he did the podcast with Ambrose. I go, "Steve," because we're buddies now, you know. And I go, big hug, and he goes, "Doggone, son, how much cologne did you put on?" Some people put that stuff on when they walk into the room, and you just realize they put too much on. I was like, "What, is that me, Steve?" But then at that point, he started talking to Sasha Banks. He'd forgotten I was even there.
Candice LeRae picks up a sneaky win over Bayley. That's very cool because it means that she is legitimised. It means that she can beat one of the top tier talents. However, she pays for it, of course, damage control jumper afterwards. Bianca Belair comes down to make the save. She then gets wrecked by damage control. And of course, we're building once again to Bayley versus Bianca. Possibly teams. We've got Survivor Series. We've got War Games coming up.
War Games.
It's interesting to see how this dynamic goes, but the two of them are excellent opponents, and I have no question of whatever they do, it's going to be excellent for women's wrestling. It's the Miz's birthday, of course it is, and how would he celebrate? By none other than having a party with his insanely hot wife, Maurice.
Wipe the vom from your uniform, and before you could say "God bless America," you'd be slipping it to every English rose under the age of 70, sir. Oh.
Dexter Lumis is hiding under a present, so in turn, Miz tries to use the present that was given to him by Maurice, the baseball bat, and of course, Dexter Lumis disappears. He then sneaks into the ring from behind, chokes him out, and poor old Maurice gets cake in her face, and this leads to a somewhat amusing backstage segment with DX where they set up the match for next week. If Dexter Lumis beats The Miz, he gets a contract on Raw, but if The Miz wins, Dexter Lumis is gone forever. Wonder what's going to happen there. Omos squashes a couple of jobbers, and frankly, I couldn't give a shit. Yes, he's 7'3", yes, he's 400 plus pounds, but he's got all the movement of John Gonzalez's granddad. He frankly is the African tree, and by that I mean, yeah, he's very impressive to look at until he moves. Problem is, he can't move. Again, because he's a fucking tree.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Bobby Lashley is about to defend his United States Championship when we get a monstrous return again. The return of the beast, Brock Lesnar.
I don't give a shit for kids.
Brock Lesnar decimates Bobby Lashley and then of course puts him in that really gnarly Kimura armlock, of course causing a severe injury. This then of course leads to Seth Rollins coming down, being the sneaky opportunist that he is. Problem is he's too over with the audience, and ultimately they don't care as much about Bobby Lashley because he's just not got that level of charisma, even though he is a fantastic worker and he looks like a mega star. But this is very cool because Seth Rollins picks up the win, of course, wins the United States Championship. The United States Championship and the IC title, all of a sudden from a few years back when we thought they were shit, are now legitimate belts. They genuinely feel like workhorse titles, and they're on megastars. They're on big names, they're on marquee names, and that means the world to both of these belts. And what it does is it strengthens and legitimizes the mid-card. It's time for Sami Zayn with the Usos in tow to face Matt Riddle. Of course, the whole storyline with this match is the fact that Jey Uso wants to interfere on his behalf because he's apparently under the tutelage / control of Sami Zayn, the honorary Uso. Of course, he keeps trying to interfere. Sami Zayn says, I don't need you, I'm fine as it is. So then Jey, of course, holds back Jimmy, and that leads to his demise as he's hit with an RKO and loses to Matt Riddle. And there is, of course, no doubt, a lot more shenanigans to come. They're building this really, really well. The psychology's great. We genuinely feel like there's a massive issue going on, and we're wondering whether this is going to lead to the split of the bloodline, or if Roman Reigns is going to recognise that Sami Zayn is kind of being a bit divisive. It's very cool. It could go in so many different ways, and genuinely everyone's working so well here. And when you've got the best promo in the business in Paul Heyman, who's helping build it along, with all the star power involved in this group and the titles and the gold, it's just money. It really is. If you don't like this in any way, you probably just don't get it, and that's a you problem. No Bray Wyatt just 2 days removed from his return, although we did get a rather sneaky promo, which was very cool. And frankly, I didn't feel like Raw needed it. I'm actually kind of glad they didn't roll him out there because they had so much going on, so many amazing moments on this show. And honestly, it might have kind of taken away from a lot of that. So I'm actually kind of pleased he wasn't on it. And to be honest, less is more. Bray Wyatt's coming. He's definitely going to be involved in incredible creative angles with great wrestling matches. So you know what? Let's just have a little bit of patience. Let's just chill. This Raw is great without him. Of course, Raw closes with the feel-good moment that is DX giving it the spiel. My God, do they look old. But then, so am I. And when they actually ask the crowd, hey, who remembers this 25 years ago? This guy, sadly, and boy does it show. Look at the age on my face. Let's be honest, look in the mirror. If you remember them from 25 years ago, chances are you look as bad as me. Hopefully not, though. And hopefully you've enjoyed this rapid-fire review of WWE Raw. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out all our other content. A lot of it's uncensored, 18+. So if you're easily offended, please don't click. Don't cry, just don't watch. It's as simple as that. But if you're happy to enjoy something a little bit different from the cults and the cultures that are floating around, no disrespect to those guys, they do a great job, but we offer something a little bit different here at the WrestleBlog. Full shithousery, full uncensored, full interviews, full reviews, full watch-alongs. There's something for everybody. I've been Aaron X. We'll catch you very soon for more content from the WrestleBlog.